Those were encouraging words, I feel, in the sense that this is a very challenged industry, but an industry that's ready to face up to that challenge. Interesting focus on Europe. So we're going to move on to hear from the Minister of Maritime and Insular Policy here in Greece, Vasilis Kikilias. Minister, please come and join us. We're very happy to have you with us and looking forward to hearing your words.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. My dear Greek friends, I will be speaking in English since we have today in The Economist esteemed guests and friends from abroad. So I'm very, very honored and thankful for the kind invitation. It's always interesting to discuss in terms of The Economist, since always there are people of the actual industry, the policymakers, technocrats, professors, ambassadors, diplomats, and good friends. I would like to start by stating out, unfortunately, everyday life, a war conflict and reality surpasses mid-term or long-term strategies. I do not see anywhere in the picture reliable mid-term or long-term strategies, nor can anybody predict exactly what is happening. I will give an example. I feel that certainly in the Greek press and TV and media, European also probably, there was an estimation of the targets that would hit in retaliation from the Iranian regime to Israel, etc. We got more than 10 countries that have been hit in the area. We had ballistic missiles, drones against civilians, hotels in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. We have, unfortunately, I think, more than 8 ships that have been targeted. It's so frustrating and disappointing because one would understand that the global fleet serves everybody. Global commerce, global chain of energy needed for everybody. And without it, 80 to 90% of global commerce cannot actually exist. Why? Because it's done via the sea. So there are warring times, difficult times, predictions cannot be made, and I feel that we should be very, very careful to what we say, when we say it, how we say it, and how we can back it up. Because things were estimated and organized in terms of this last year, and people thought that they were inevitable and couldn't change, and they did change, and I'm talking about the IMO decisions. So, in terms of Greece, what do we have in the area? In terms of Greece, we have 10 Greek flag ships within the Persian Gulf. We have another 3 ships right outside the Hormuz. We have hundreds of Greek-owned ships in the area or vast area. We got 13 confirmed hits in terms of ships from drones, missiles, etc. 2 of them slightly hit. I'm talking about Greek-owned ships. I'm very, very happy and thankful that all seafarers are well, all our ships are okay. The war room in the Ministry of Maritime Affairs is in constant cooperation and has reached to every one of them, every ship, every seafarer, again, 24/7, every day. It is a crisis that proves, unfortunately, once again, the strategic necessity of ships and the European fleet in terms of Europe. And by all means, Greece represents 20% of the global fleet, 25% of LNG carriers, That is a massive number. Now, is there a vision about the future? Do we actually believe that shipping, shipyards, energy is a growing part of the economy that can give job opportunities, that can unite continents and countries, and there can be a global framework in terms of how you regulate it? Do we think that if we upgrade ports in Europe, that will give help to our dying competitiveness? I think so. The Draghi report stated 1 year ago, 1 year and some months ago, about how European shipping and the European shipping industry is a very crucial part of the economy where Europe has to push forward in terms of competitiveness, or else the effort to narrow the gap from the United States of America and China is going to be non-possible. What did we do actually, like European family, this 1 year? I have to be frank and honest. We did nothing. We did nothing. So bureaucracy is irrelevant, my dear friends. The actual facts of life are very, very relevant. What we did as a country in terms of the biggest part of our economy, our GDP is more or less shipping, tourism, services, and real estate. This is reality for Greece. We're a small country, 2% of Europe's GDP, but a huge country in terms of shipping. And that's why I have clearly stated by order of the Prime Minister that we will be part of the solutions in Europe in terms of shipping, and we will not just stand by anymore and overwatch what is happening. And this is what we did. And unfortunately, this huge crisis proves us right. What did we do? We stated clearly that expensive way of life in Europe and elsewhere is the biggest problem for societies, for economies, for governments, especially in Greece, Europe. Unfortunately, it's coming from abroad, from outside inside, and we have to tackle it and deal with it. Governments in Europe face huge challenges because of that, and mainly the average European family is under pressure. So what was at stake? There was a decision to be taken globally in terms of net zero framework. So, more or less, we were trying to penalize the industry from 2027, 130 billion euro, and until 2035, 100 to 300 billion per year, in terms of them shifting from the transition fuel, which is LNG, to other biofuels that would create zero emissions for the environment. This is very noble. This is definitely a goal for the future, and this is what we want to inherit to our children, a cleaner and a safer environment and a cleaner and a safer planet. But, dear friends, we were not realistic. And people that were ready to take the decisions didn't know what they were talking about, because unfortunately there are no biofuels. Biofuels are 0.5% of the global production in terms of the need of ships globally. So do we have the fuels or not? No, we do not have the fuels. Are the fuels that we have and we seek and we say that they are biofuels secure for the industry, secure for our seas, secure for our seafarers? No. Nobody can say that yet. I really hope from the bottom of my heart that someday in the future this would be a fact. But nowadays it isn't. And since it isn't and we do not have them, what would happen? The ship owners would shift that huge burden because when they seek to buy new ships or build new ships, in terms of all this taxation, it would be practically impossible to get their money back. So what they would do is shift or pass the costs where? In the actual economy. So would we have extra inflation, huge inflation, massive increase in the energy prices, an increase in the prices of goods. So where does that leave European societies? Because I'm sorry, because the Greek administration with Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis is working for the average Greek people. We respect the industry, we support heavy industry, we support shipping, we support decisions, we're part of the European family, we deeply respect the IMO, but we work for the average Greek family. There is no doubt about that. So in terms of difficult times last years with conflicts, a war in the heart of Europe after 80 years, unimaginable. Energy crisis, a pandemic, a huge crisis of global health. Another war in the Middle East, all these conflicts and problems that we're trying to defend ourselves and defend the European Union and defend our people and our islands and everything. So where would that lead? That would lead in devastating consequences in terms of financing and in terms of oil prices and in terms of everyday life, and that would be unbearable. So we seeked and we asked for a calibration in terms of the possibility of being able to move forward in the best possible way. That wasn't the case, so we had to take it out in the open and discuss about other solutions, and finally we were right, because many member states and countries in the IMO decided the same thing, and the decision got postponed for a year. I do not see a decision like that be taken this 1 year. I see other decisions that have to do with society and everyday life are very, very important, because 2050 is important in terms of the climate. 2100 is very, very important, but societies and people have to be able to survive everyday life to reach 2050 and to reach 2100. Another decision, another European decision, tax imports and ETS. Okay, European ports, huge asset. Ships, energy, ports, shipyards, huge asset for Europe. So with ETS, we charge our European ports. Why? You get the ships there, you create hubs, you have to pay. Fine. How about competitiveness? Because if we keep on overpricing our ports, we won't be able to be antagonistic. So ship owners, ships, and companies are going to go to Turkey, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, not be coming to our ports anymore. So how about job opportunities? How many jobs are going to be lost? How about income in terms of taxation in the European Union? So strike one, the decisions for IMO. Strike two, ETS. Strike three, definitely decisions, important decisions that have to be taken in terms of what we allow in terms of natural gas and oil and everything, in terms of Russian sanctions. We abide by it, we totally agree, and we stand along our friends and allies in terms of peace. But, okay, now banning European ship owners in terms of the cap into taking oil and taking it to other places of the planet, not Europe. If you're not going to blockade with warships that you're not going to blockade, what will happen? What is happening? The decision, of course, hasn't been taken yet, because G7 have to agree. But what will happen, actually, for the people that know? There's going to be other countries, like Turkey, like maybe, I don't know, India, maybe China, with other kind of ships, not high security, not with security and plain security, not with the possibility of taking care of the environment and the seas and not polluting. Going there with shadow fleets, getting the oil, getting it around the globe, and then by secondary markets, this oil will be sold to Europe in much higher prices. So, are we realistic in it? Maybe in the paper and the context and the framework, but how are you going to implement it? So these are three things that are very, very worrying for Europe in terms of shipping, of energy, and of regulation. And there are three things that will hurt societies in the most difficult point the point of expenses. And this is something that already is hurting administrations, it's hurting member states, it's hurting countries. Great Britain also had the opportunity to talk to my fellow minister, and these are very, very worrying. Very, very worrying facts. So Europe must move faster. Europe must shrink their bureaucracy. Europe must understand that tough decisions must be taken. I'm very, very happy to see that there are discussions about rearming Europe and an industry, and a defensive industry. When we were the first ones, like country, that back in the pandemic we said, come on guys, the West, they cannot produce either a typical, actual, simple mask. We were totally dependent on the East in terms of Tyvek, gloves, masks, respirators and everything. If the peak of the pandemic did not decline in China, we wouldn't be able to have the goods. It would be devastating for Europe, it would be devastating for the United States. What have we done since then to be able to be ready in terms of emergencies, to be sustainable in terms of emergencies? Unfortunately, they are unfolding one after the other in the globe. So these are things that matter. It's not about, painting a picture that's more beautiful or more agreeable than what it already is. But it's not about bureaucrats agreeing and feeling that they're happy. It's about societies agreeing and going along with member states and administrations and feeling happy, feeling secure, feeling that European leaders support the actual average family and their needs. Because these are the ones that vote for us, these are the ones that vote in your elections, and these are the ones that support all the political decisions. So it's time to rethink. It's time to speed up. And it's time to actually understand what is happening in Europe and what is happening in the planet. And by all means, we are dedicated into doing it in the best interest of our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. And another striking, quite moving speech there, I thought, and very nice to hear challenges set out in detail, transparently, rather than a sort of marketing speech for